Talmor, Sasha Neboga. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't you love it when you find a new podcast you really like? Well, let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm Mike Carruthers, the host, and in every episode, you'll hear fascinating information that will make your life better from top experts. Recently, we've done episodes on why you have the personality you do, the science of luck, and the psychology of a restaurant menu. You're going to like Something You Should Know. We have literally thousands of 5-star reviews. Look for Something You Should Know wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Fat Mike from NoFX.
Hi, I'm actress Ann Mahoney.
Hey, friends, this is Hillbilly Jim. Hi, this is Kyle Dunbar from Ink Master, Season 3 and 4. Hey, this is Showdown Joe Frog.
Hey, everyone, this is Jessica Kiernan.
Hey, it's Ryan.
I'm Molly, and we're from Mother.
Hey, it's Shelby Chong, and I'm a Canadian from Vancouver.
Yo, what's up? This is me, DMC, and a place to be right here listening to the Toddcast Podcast.
The Toddcast Podcast
is powered by Citywide Mortgage Services, providing complete financing and mortgage services for residential and small commercial businesses. Visit them at citywidemortgage.ca.
Now, here's your host, Todd Hancock.
Did you get pulled into the UFC right from the start? Like, I remember watching the first one ever. There's no weight classes, almost no rules. Like, I think you couldn't gouge somebody's eyes out. But nut shots, absolutely. 300-pound guys taking on $150, why not? Been a fan of the sport since the get-go. And this week, he is a retired MMA welterweight champ. You saw him fight with the UFC, the PFL, more recently Bellator MMA. He went 14-3-1 in the UFC. He was PFL's champ and challenged for the title at Bellator. Fighter Jon Fitch joins us.
Yeah, I mean, I beat a lot of guys, and then when I started pushing back on contract stuff, they stopped giving me named fighters.
Right.
They gave me the toughest guy that nobody knew. You know, Joe Silva actually, he said to Crazy Bob, my manager, that, oh, we've got a new strategy to get rid of these wrestlers. We're just going to make all the wrestlers fight each other and get rid of them, and then make the strikers fight each other, and then push the strikers they want ahead. And, you know, they ended up eliminating a lot of top guys who in an actual sport with actual universal rankings, and you had to fight somebody similar to your rankings. Guys that probably, you know, would have done really well were just pushed to the side and never really had a chance just because, you know, they didn't like them or they didn't like their style.
Joining Jon Fitch, a model and actress you've seen on Chicago Fire, Blue Bloods, Criminal Minds, NCIS. She is Al Pacino's wife in Knox Goes Away. Sasha Neboga is a guest this week.
I guess it kind of had to happen because your whole focus is just kind of your exterior presentation. You know, like that's your sole worth is your appearance and, you know, how you come across. And I'm glad I went through that journey to kind of get to a point where I'm like, you know what, that beauty fades, you know, I think what is internally is what counts.
Great to have Jon and Sasha on this podcast. You'll hear from this week's musical guest in just a second, the singer of an alt-punk post-hardcore band from Toronto that you need to know. Coming up shortly in Stop Me If You've Heard This Before, former Glory kickboxing fighter Trevor Rajan talks about when parents should enroll their kids in MMA. That is powered by 3-year sponsor FKP MMA. Learn self-defense, build your self-esteem, of course, get shredded doing it. My youngest youngest, Levi, goes a couple times a week and absolutely loves it. Find out why. Vancouver's #1 training destination by a landslide, fkpmma.com. First, our first guest of 3. This week's musical guest is Napoleon singer Jon Elmaleh. It's powered by the Hawkins Sound Ranch. Get over 20 years experience. Use their state-of-the-art studio as well, and trust that working with their owner, Corey, will elevate your band's sound and your game. He's been banging away for decades himself in bands, touring, recording music. He's a longtime friend of the podcast and wants to simply help out. Commercial sound on an indie budget. Check them out through the HawkinsSoundRanch.com. They're also kicking around and chirping off on Twitter and Facebook from time to time. Can you even imagine what it takes to break as a band today? It's not like it was, back in the day. I saw stupid money being thrown around during my time in radio here in Vancouver, from having $60 shots of tequila with Pete Yorn to the all-you-can-eat sushi sessions with literally name the band. It was around the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, that all of that meal ticket kind of just stopped. Today, it's just different. It's harder. There's more saturation. There's more noise. There's more things to kind of get you sidetracked. As mentioned just a minute back, there's an alt-punk post-hardcore band from Toronto that you need to know called Napoleon. Crushing band. They formed in 2018. Silverstein singer Shane Told says that they are one of 23 Canadian bands that will keep the scene alive, and said that Toronto should be proud of these up-and-comers. Shouldn't surprise you that music has always been in Napoleon singer Jon's life.
Definitely not the stuff we play.
No.
Just like top 40 stuff. Like, no one in my family really was into like alternative heavy music. It's kind of something I just found on my own.
Okay. Like, was it a big music house, or like, are they surprised? Are your parents surprised? Your friends surprised? Like, that you're down this path? No.
It's funny actually. I was just talking about this with my dad and my grandmother the other day, and they were saying ever since ever since I was a kid, I apparently really liked music. So I'm not surprised per se, but it definitely did not. There was no like outside influence kind of like forcing me into this. I kind of just discovered it all on my own.
Yeah.
Apparently, when I was a kid, I don't really remember this, but apparently, like when I was like a toddler, I was like really obsessed with like the Wiggles, and like my parents even like took me to like a Wiggles concert and stuff.
No way.
Like, I always had that kind of, that musical inclination.
I think that's always the way it is, right? Like, doesn't matter the genre. You'll hear most musicians talking about growing up with top 40 music, or kind of whatever was in the background at the home radio or whatever it was. We talked with Jon for, I think it was just about half hour. You can hear it right now at iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Megaphone. If you'd rather watch the interview, it's up right now at our YouTube channel, all at Toddcast Podcast. We talked about all sorts of things, like that they're managed by Scott Middleton of Cancer Bats. We talked about Weezer playing cover songs, his love of the aforementioned Silverstein. He shared a near-death story and talked about being a music teacher.
It kind of works out because like I work in the school system, so like when like they have summer break, I have summer break, and then I start taking like part-time work elsewhere, like to fill in like the gaps like when we're not on tour.
Yeah, well, that's cool. So you are all music.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that must be a trip for Jon's students, hey? Like, here's this guy in a killer local band, and he's your music teacher as well. I think that's pretty cool. Doing some digging, Napoleon has played some pretty rad shows over the years with Escape the Fate, Single Mothers, Fame on Fire, Indian Handcrafts, Bastardane. They're known for their live shows. Simply put, Canadian Beats magazine said that they were, quote, loud, sweaty, and completely overwhelming in all of the best ways. It's a pretty awesome quote, considering that's what it's all about, right? The live show. Jon was easy to talk to, getting into the worst jobs that he's had. We talked about the shows that he was binge watching at the time. Seeing U2 in concert came up. We talked about what it's like to tour Canada. North by Northeast and Toronto's music scene came up.
It's cool. There's a lot of really, really cool bands going right now, especially in our genre. I feel like every time we do like a hometown like headlining show, we always have like these big talks about like who we're going to put on the show and stuff. And there's always a lot of options, which is cool.
Where do you play when you play Toronto?
we've definitely done a few venues here. We have a show like for the record release show is going to be at a venue called Sneaky D's, which is a pretty iconic venue here. We played the Hard Luck a few times. We did like our 5-year anniversary headline show there last year. That was like our last big headlining show. It was last February.
Oh, yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
We've done this venue called the Velvet Underground here, which is pretty cool a few times. That's always like a support thing though. Like we're always like opening for like other bands when we play there.
Sure. Yeah. And you guys always do like the North by Northeast and all that too, right?
Yeah, so we did Bovine for North by Northeast a couple of years in a row. It was crazy. Like the we did it like last June, and the set was like nuts. Like we played at like 1 a.m.
Oh no way!
Yeah, so we thought like, okay, we're gonna play to like 2 people. This sucks.
No. So you're gonna play 200 drunk people.
Yeah, holy shit, man! Like it was crazy. Like the set was insane. Like I couldn't believe. Like it was probably the rowdiest set we've ever had.
Yeah.
Like the amount of like serving sound, like the venue, like you could tell like they had no idea what to do. Like they had like these security guards who like came and like, stood on the front of the stage, and every time someone would like crowd surf, they'd be like stop. But it was awesome. Like it was so much fun.
Yeah, I've been to North by Northeast a few times over the years, right? Just kind of going to see.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't do it this year because it just doesn't work out like based on when our like the release show is like in June, because North by Northeast is in June.
And I love hearing Jon talk about Toronto's scene, considering it's not one that I get to dive into very often. I haven't been out east for a long time, probably getting close to a decade at this point. So it's interesting to hear what one of the city's frontrunners has to say about their scene. And Jon talked about the plans for his band Napoleon for the rest of 2024.
That's a bit of a tough one too. There's definitely a lot of touring coming up. It's like starting in June. Like we're gonna be pretty busy for the rest of the summer and stuff. We're talking about trying to follow this up with a couple singles really quick though. I don't know how that's gonna play out, but I think there's a good chance you'll hear more music from us this year.
Nice.
We also do have I'm not gonna give away which one. We do have a cover song recorded, which
I love covers, man.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I mean, anyone who like actually been seeing our band for the last couple of years probably knows this one.
Probably knows, yeah. No, I don't know what it is about covers, man. I love another band's take on a band song, like, and I always have, like, even as a little kid, like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know. We like to play other. We like to do covers. It's fun.
Toddcast Podcast musical guest visits are powered by the Hawkins Sound Ranch. Use their 20-plus years of experience to record at their state-of-the-art studio. Commercial sound on an indie budget. Visit thehawkinssoundranch.com for more.
Diplomatic, disenchanted. Signs to show you're tucked away. This keeps you safe. It will get better. You deserve this. Some circles for the future. Pull you away in some strange way. But I can't handle this. You're the blade in my back. Scandalous. I spend your time tearing up your life. I'll be right here by your side. So tell your friends that they were right about me, and I'll say the same about you. So planted still grow. You used to call me home. Now the bed we used to share is where I sleep alone. I'm glad we got to grow together before we grew apart. Kept your letters, think it's better that I stayed far. The seeds you planted still grow. You used to call me home. Now the bed we used to share is where I sleep alone.
Now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast podcast.
Former Glory kickboxing fighter Trevor Rajan has a record of 7-6, had lots of potential to be one of the best, ferocious, intense, and vicious in the cage. Watch his stuff online. You'll see he throws with intent, hits like a Mack truck. Looking at the stats, though, Trevor hasn't fought for Glory since the summer of 19. It might be that he's hung up the gloves and moved on to other things in his life. As you'll hear in the full interview, we talked about superhero movies, his love of skateboarding. He shared a near-death story. We talked about his thoughts on aliens visiting Earth, legalized marijuana, and family both came up. And stop me if you've heard this before, Trevor talked about when he thinks that parents should enroll their kids in MMA.
Early. I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to me in this. I wish I started a lot earlier.
Right.
I think every fighter I have a conversation with says they wish they started earlier or sooner.
And listen to what Trevor said about watching tape of opponents before fighting them.
I try to not watch, get too stuck in it. Some people do a little bit more than others.
Yeah, to me it would seem like you would almost get, there would almost be stuck in, it would be something in your head if you watched too much of it.
Yeah, exactly. I do watch their stuff. I mean, I'd be a fool not to. So, what they're good at, what they're not good at, their stance, things like that. So I watch it a little bit, but I'm definitely not the type to, obsess over watching it. Because at that point, you start to focus on, their game and what they're going to do instead.
You're like, wow, those guys are really good, actually. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Stop Me If You've Heard This Before on the Toddcast podcast is powered by FKP MMA, Vancouver's #1 training destination at fkpmma.com. And now, highlighting our next Blue Light Sessions, powered in part by Canadian Club Whiskey. Meet your new cold one. We serve Canadian Club and Ginger ready-to-drink cocktails at all of our live shows. Visit CanadianClub.com today.
Something lost and something
kind of get that sneaky feeling that our next live show is going to be something special. The band is Dusk Note, and a new song for those guys, new song for the podcast. It's called Vendor of Your Dreams, and you're like 10 days away from seeing them live in East Vancouver. So on Friday, August 23rd, Blue Light Studio. It's Toddcast Podcast Blue Light Sessions Volume 29 with Dusk Note and Supper Time. I'm going to play something from those guys in just a little bit. Each band gets the 45-minute set. We'll interview both bands. You can interview them as well if you want. There's, of course, the performance aspect as well. Intimate, interactive. If you buy early, you can save bucks right now through eventbrite.ca. It's $20 right now. It's $25 if you wait for the door. Doors are at 7 o'clock. The show starts around 8-ish, 8:15. I played you a new song, another new song for the podcast, and something new for a band called Cloud Sick. The song for them is Letters Kept. And yes, I have brought up the idea of maybe them playing a show with the podcast, so kind of see where that goes. Likely won't be till the end of the year, maybe early next year, if we can make that happen. Love those guys. Coming up in just a few minutes in Listen to This, retired NHL defenseman Mike Commodore tells a pretty funny story about Kid Rock and the Stanley Cup. That is powered by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley. 8-year sponsor, no breaks along the way. They are a key reason that we're able to bang off these podcasts for you. Year in, year out. Nothing but the best things to say about these guys. RV service and repairs. They are ICBC accredited as well. You can find them online on Facebook and Twitter at Tedco RV Supplies. First, the second of 3 Toddcast guests this week is our sporting guest, retired MMA champ Jon Fitch. That's powered by Hand Over Hand Textiles in Vancouver. Naturally dyed goods for your home, for your body. Every piece is unique. It's all handmade. Bandanas and socks and shirts and scarves and dishcloths and pillowcases or whatever it is, you'll love their work. It's all top notch. And they only use pure plant extracts, natural fibers. Mother Earth loves them. Indeed, they are also locally owned, locally operated. Find them through handoverhandtextiles.com. They're also kicking around on Instagram. So as mentioned off the top, you'll know Jon Fitch as a retired MMA welterweight champ. He was 14-3-1 in the UFC. He was a champ in the PFL. He challenged in Bellator MMA. Jon actually started his career at light heavyweight, where he went 4 wins, 2 losses, 1 no contest. He trained with the American Kickboxing Academy, which you'll know is widely recognized as one of the best in North America. Fitch, Cormier, Khabib, Makhachev, BJ Penn, Mike Swick, they've all trained with some of the best in the world. When Jon dropped to welterweight, he won 7 straight fights, caught the attention of the UFC. I think this was around 2006. After taking out Berkman and Sanchez and Alves, UFC president Dana White set him up to fight GSP for the title, which of course Jon lost. But he did go the distance with arguably one of the best at that weight in the division. Jon was released from the UFC in 2008. He wouldn't sign a lifetime contract to allow his name and likeness to be used in a UFC video game, which Jon wasn't going to get paid for. You'll hear all about that in the full conversation on YouTube. Jon was back to fighting in the UFC less than 24 hours later, was with them until UFC 156 in 2013. From there, Jon fought with World Series of Fighting for almost 5 years, which of course became the PFL, the Professional Fighters League. Jon was their welterweight champ for a little bit. Then Bellator MMA in 2018. Fought some tough guys there like Paul Daly, Rory McDonald, and after fighting Neiman Gracie in Bellator 246, he lost in the second round submission. Jon announced that he was retiring from MMA. Had one hell of a career, was super engaged during our conversation, and talked about how folk-style wrestling is the key to fighting.
I think not just wrestling. I think folk-style wrestling is very important in fighting in general, because it teaches you a lot of control. It teaches you, takedown defense, takedowns, of course, but with like judo and freestyle and Greco wrestling, there's you're incentivized to do big throws, and there's not a lot of control afterward. I just have to expose your back to the mat in order to get more points for those throws. If I can go feet to back or get your feet over your head, like I get more points and the match ends sooner. So there's not a lot of control there. So you can see guys, I've seen judo throws from guys, today where it's a nice throw, they get the takedown, but as soon as they hit the mat, there's no control and the guy gets loose. Well, now you've spent a lot of energy taking the guy down, but he's back up.
Which is a problem.
Which is a problem. Because then you do that a few times and you get a little bit tired.
Sure.
And they get a confidence boost because they got up. You took them down 3 times, they got up 3 times. Now they're like, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm in a good place." And you're breathing heavy. So I think the aspect of control that you get from folk style wrestling is really important.
And great to get some thoughts on a solid MMA foundation from straight up one of the best to ever do it. The full conversation with Jon is 45 minutes long. You can hear it. You can see it. We did it on Zoom. On our social media platforms, it's plastered everywhere, all at Toddcast Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Megaphone, SoundCloud, YouTube. Truly, we did talk in depth about fighting and MMA, watching tape of opponents and training for specific fighters. He talked about the UFC and what happened when they put out their video game. You will not believe what they told the fighters. The fact that GSP, George St. Pierre, was his toughest opponent.
Yeah, he was the hardest fight. I wanted that fight back so bad, though, because 2 fights before that, he got knocked out by, what's sorry, I'm forgetting his name here. What's that, babe? Matt Serra.
Sarah, that's right. Yeah.
Girlfriend with the clutch.
Nice.
Matt Serra knocked him out 2 fights before I fought him. So I'm thinking his chin's gone. He's got hit too many times. So my game plan for that fight was just to hit him, touch him up. I had no intention of taking him down. I had no intention of grappling with him or forcing clinch. It was the absolute wrong backwards game plan. I should have stuck to my bread and butter. I should have punched to clinch. I should have fought him in the cage. I should have worked for easy takedowns. I didn't try any of those things. And it showed.
And that was the game plan from like coaches down, like you
I game plan my own. I game plan my own stuff. I had a lot of people who were specialty coaches, but at the end of the day, I was my head coach. I was always my own head coach.
And it's crazy when you think about it. That was, at the time, the era that Jon Fitch was fighting in, the UFC, with Damian Maia and Johnny Hendricks and BJ Penn and Thiago Alves and Diego Sanchez. These were all killers, everybody that he was fighting. And, of course, great to get outside of what Jon's known for as well. We tend to do that, talking about binging true crime dramas, the music of Pantera and Petty and Tool, the Chili Peppers and Outlaw Country. Cheech and Chong and George Carlin came up, and so did Superpowers, football, and sports injuries. And Jon shared a couple near-death stories as well.
I have 2. I have one. One was when I was a little kid. Okay. And we were screwing around. I was playing, me and my brother goofing around, and I got into this box. And my brother, as a joke, got his bow and arrow and shot a stick at the box. Went, right through the box. He's like, "Oh Jesus!" He's like, he didn't think it would go through the box, and it's like, if I would have been like 6 inches in front, it would have done some damage. Yeah, so that was probably one of the actual most near death experiences. But one that was kind of like that, I was thinking this might be it, was the first time I fought in Mexico. Right. I just started fighting. This was like my 4th fight, my 2nd professional fight, right? I went down, me and Brian Ebersol found this promoter, and we flew down to like San Antonio, and then we had to cross the border and drive all the way down to Monterey, right? Well, we got split in different cars, and I got put with 2 or 3 people who I'd never met before, who they barely spoke English, and I drove across the border with them, and I had a 3-hour ride or whatever it was to get to Monterey. And we're just driving on this like little road, and they're passing semis on the right side in the dirt and stuff. And I'm just like, where am I going? Like, is this it? Is this it? Is this like, has the cartel got me? I was like, what is happening? Like, I had no idea what was happening until we got to the hotel, and I finally see somebody I recognize. I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's wild. They're like, what do you think? They're like, what do you think about Mexico? What do you think it's gonna be like? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I hope they're not stabby down here. So I'm really poor. I have no money, no family to come and get me either.
Oh my god. Yeah, dude. I think the arrow, the shooting the stick at the start there was like,
yeah,
I'll be pretty close.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And this
never
one,
forget that.
No shit. You know, my brother.
I'll never forget that. It's locked in my head.
You remember those lawn darts when we were little kids?
Oh yeah, we played with those a lot.
And my brother chucked one up in the air. And
we used to play this game where you take a screwdriver and you throw it near the other person's foot, right? And then they have to spread their feet a little bit further to the next place where you throw the screwdriver until one day my mom got hit in the foot and then that game stopped.
Yeah. My brother caught the lawn dart right in his leg. He went to catch it, like 8 or 9 years old. Went to catch it, stuck right in his leg.
The Toddcast podcast is powered by Milano Coffee, bringing you the finest espresso and coffee concepts in the world. Online at milanocoffee.ca. And now, listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
How crazy is it that the Sedin twins never won a Stanley Cup? Or Paul Kariya, Jeremy Roenick, Pierre Turgeon, Adam Oates, Jarome Iginla, Connor McDavid. All huge names in hockey, all players that you've never seen raise Lord Stanley's Cup or drink a beer from it, right? Like, don't all the players on the team get the cup for a day or two? Show family, friends. Certainly the hardest trophy in sport to win. Multiple rounds, many players just playing through injuries. And great to have retired NHL defenseman Mike Commodore as a guest. Of course, he won the cup with the Hurricanes back in 2006. And talk about a great storyteller, too. He talked about going to the Devils, 42nd overall in the 99 NHL entry draft. He ended up playing 15 seasons in the NHL. We talked about binge-watching Animal Kingdom and the Manti Te'o football documentary. Mike built the ultimate hockey line with past and present players. He shared some concert highlights, the frivolous things that he bought after signing a 5-year, $18 million contract with the Blue Jackets. He talked about realizing your true potential, the music that was in his house, in his life as a kid. And Mike told a great story about Kid Rock being on the ice after they won the Stanley Cup in 2006. Listen to this.
That's kind of a good story for like a music end of things. Yeah. We win the Stanley Cup in Carolina. We were up 3-1 against Edmonton. Game 5 was in Carolina. We get a power play in overtime. I'm like, this game's fucking over because our power play is good. So I'm not on the power play. I'm sitting on the bench. And I'm like, this is fucking done. There's like a 35% chance we're going to score here. We cough up the puck. Fernando Pisani puts it underneath our short end of goal against. Back to Edmonton. Go play in Edmonton. We get our asses kicked. It's not even close. Game's over in the first 5 minutes. I'm like, this is about survival. I'm like, this fucking game is over. I'm like, I'm just going to make sure I don't get put into the upper deck. And so we're going back for Game 7. This is it. I'm like, and my parents want to come down. And so I had to tell my parents, I'm like, you know what? I go, I would love for you guys to come down. But I'm like, look, if we lose this game, I go, you're not going to want to be around me. I'm not going to want to be around anybody. I just want to do things how I've always done them. And that's on my own. And my parents are great. They're like, we get it. No problem. We'll watch it on TV. Good luck. I'm like, thank you. So we end up winning. And they actually had to change the rules in the NHL after this. So we win. And there had to have been fucking 300 people on the ice. There we got like parents, grandparents, cousins, uncles. I'm like, who the fuck are half these people? Yeah. And so I'm standing out there. I'm by myself. I'm like, God, I should have flown my parents here. They should be out here for this. But I called them. It was all good. But I'm standing out there just kind of looking around, just kind of taking the moment in or whatever. And I get a tap on my shoulder. Hey, Commie, congratulations. So I figure it's somebody's uncle. I'm like, yeah, turn around and say thank you. Well, it's fucking Kid Rock. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, Kid Rock? He's like, oh, no, call me Bob. I go, oh, Bob. I go, dude, this is awesome. He's like, congratulations. I'm like, yeah, thanks. I go, hey, Bob, are you sticking around tonight? He's like, yeah. I'm like, can I go out with you? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yes. So we're celebrating in this. Everybody goes into the locker room. Kid Rock comes in. The locker room's slammed, can barely move. And then we kick everybody else out that's not. So we kick Kid Rock out. It's just the guys now. And so I'm like, hey, I'll be right out. And he's like, yeah, sounds good. I'm like, I'm going to get to go out with Kid Rock tonight. This is going to be fucking awesome. Yeah. So I'm sitting in my stall. I got my shit off. I just have my long johns on. I want to shower and I want to go. So we're sitting in there, and now the older guys, Rod Bridmore, Glenn Wesley, Brett Hedekin, and some of those guys, they're giving speeches. So I'm listening, I'm sitting here, and they were nice speeches, don't get me wrong. These guys had awesome careers, and it was a great moment. But I'm sitting there, and in the back of my head, I'm like, these guys need to wrap this shit up.
I want to go fucking party with Kid Rock.
Party with Kid Rock here. I can listen to these speeches later. But anyways, the speech, and we ended up hanging out in the locker room till like 3 a.m. So I never ended up getting to go out with Kid Rock. My biggest regret about that night. I should have walked out. Fuck it.
Just amazing though. Amazing.
Yeah, it was cool.
Listen to This on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC approved repair shop. Visit them on Facebook and Twitter at Tedco RV Supplies.
Tried to keep you at bay. I cried in your arms last night.
digging that. Looking forward to what they bring in the live setting. The band is Supper Time, and a fun little song for those guys called Carpet Cutter. If you make it out to our show next Friday, August 23rd, they're opening up the night. Toddcast Podcast Blue Light Sessions, Volume 29, with Dusk Note, which you heard earlier in this podcast, and Supper Time. Each band gets that 45-minute set, interview, the performance, intimate, interactive. We'd love for you to be there. Grab a ticket early and save $5 through eventbrite.ca. Eventbrite. Search out Toddcast Podcast. You can't miss the shows. If you wait for the door, it's a little bit more. It's not too bad, though. $25. Doors are at 7 o'clock, and the show starts at 8-ish. I say ish. Probably more like 8:15, 8:20. You heard something new for a great band out of Nanaimo on Vancouver Island called Under the Mountain. Their new song, they just fired it our way. It's called Play Our Way. Those boys have played shows for the podcast back in the day, back where we were doing the shows at the now defunct Railway Bar in downtown Vancouver. Killer chops with these guys. Good dudes all around. If they are playing anywhere near you, go. Make a night of it. Believe me, go get your face melted off. Great band, Under the Mountain. Speaking of live music, find a small list of shows that are happening locally with the indie scene at toddhancock.ca. If you're playing a show or you're checking one out, if it's indie, let me know about it. We'll get it up at the site, get some free advertising for that show. Maybe we'll even play a song on the cast, but of course that would mean that you would need to send me your music, of which I would love to hear it. Okay, so let's get to our final guest of this episode 340. It's actress Sasha Neboga, this week's entertainment and lifestyle guest. As mentioned off the top, you'll best know, or likely best know Sasha from playing Sydney McMillan on Chicago Fire. But you've seen her in other roles as well, in Blue Bloods, Criminal Minds Beyond Borders, NCIS Los Angeles, Velvet Prozac. She is Al Pacino's wife in the movie Knox Goes Away. That's actually how we booked her. The PR company representing her reached out and said, hey, do you want to talk to her? And here we are.
I mean, and everybody's like, what are you going to do next? And I'm like, I don't know how you can follow that. I mean, I can take that to the grave. I feel accomplished. I feel good. Like, yeah. I mean, it's iconic. It feels surreal to, be included and be around him. And, my entire family is just in awe. So, it was a huge honor. Yeah. And he's lovely. He's lovely.
I mean, yeah. How could you get to that point and not, like, if you were an asshole, you'd never get as big as he is. Like, just, it would never happen. Right.
That's also been a really great discovery. I feel like the higher up you go, the more successful people are, at least in the creative space that I've come across, they're just the most grounded, humble people. Michael Keaton also,
of course, he directed the film as well, right?
He did. And it was really amazing to watch. I mean, on set you have, maybe 100 crew and cast, and he's just, you can tell he's juggling everything, but he's so just grounded and has so much integrity and makes every single person feel seen. He really holds space for everybody. So, and such a gentleman, just to always make sure you feel good. So yeah, just, I have nothing but good things to say. It feels like a dream still, honestly.
Yeah, sure. Right. Like Pacino, Keaton, like just two freaking juggernauts.
Also Joanna Kulig, who I remember, I remember seeing Cold War in theaters when it came out, so I had no idea she was attached to the project until I ran into her on set. And then I realized, okay, she plays across Michael Keaton, but, that just also incredible. She flew in from Poland, and also just the loveliest human being.
Very cool. Hey, like what a trip it must be working with two of the greats, straight up their legends. Check out the full talk with Sasha. I think it's close to about a half hour long. You can hear it. You can see it. Another Zoom chat at iTunes, Spotify, Megaphone, SoundCloud. Of course, YouTube has all of the videos that we do. Sasha was born in Kiev, Ukraine, immigrated to the U.S. shortly after that, grew up in New York City. She studied at the School of American Ballet, took acting in high school, performing arts, was signed with Elite Model Management. An interesting life, to say the very least, no doubt. Listen to Sasha talk about the fact that she doesn't watch the movies and the shows that she's done?
I hate watching myself.
I really. Sure.
I don't know if we've evolved to the point where it's just, I don't think we're wired to, sit back and watch ourselves. Like it's
same for me. Like when I make my podcasts and stuff, because I have 3 guests every week, right? Like you're going to be one of 3 guests in the podcast when I put it out.
Okay.
But I put it together, but I never push play and listen to the whole hour and a half. You know what I mean? I just don't do that.
I'm really glad. Well, I've watched your podcast. I think you look great. If that's any assurance, and that's, I guess, other people, they're, I guess it's just a being a fly on the wall. They're not as attached to the situation. So, we have our own, whatever insecurities or perceptions of who we are. And I think we spiral out just observing, how could we have done this better?
Yeah. You don't like it, but you do watch it though. Please tell me you watch your stuff.
I do. I actually, I was nervous going into the premiere of Knox Goes Away.
Yeah.
But you know what? I sat through the whole movie, and at the end of it, I'm like, I did pretty good. Okay. So it was definitely assuring. It was a really nice moment.
That's cool. And who'd you go with?
I went with my fiance. So he loved it, I think.
Oh, he's got to be super proud. Oh my God. You're freaking with Al Pacino and Michael Keaton. It's nuts. Like 2 huge names.
He's actually Samoan, and he's first generation, but his mom, who I love, like she's been obsessed with Al Pacino. I mean, she grew up with him, watching him.
Yeah.
And sure. I think she's honestly my biggest fan. I mean, she just screamed when she found out, and then she's just looking for like any update. So it's really nice. It's really sweet. But I think he's got a crush on Michael Keaton now.
Yeah.
After seeing him at the premiere, and I did give him warning. I'm like, he's incredible. He's phenomenal. He's clever. He's witty. Self-deprecating, but in a really classy way.
When you think about it, I guess that's the same for most creatives. It's not like I watch the interviews that I do or listen to the podcasts once I've created them. Like not once. In fact, in over 10 years, never have I sat down and listened to a whole podcast. Like not once. So I get it. As we tend to do, we go a little bit further than what our guests are known for. Sasha talked about growing up to classical music and ABBA and Queen, the shows that she's been binge watching. She shared her first concert story seeing Mike Snow. We talked about U2's Bono and Fame. Batman and Black Widow came up. So did near-death stories and superpowers. And Sasha talked about being a big fan of football as well.
Well, football. The proper saying, football. Man City.
Okay.
Who just got eliminated, unfortunately, but it's a great season.
Yeah.
If they had to lose to anyone, it would be Real Madrid. I'll give my hats off to that.
Did you watch that? What was that? Just called Beckham.
Yeah, the documentary.
Yeah, so good, right?
Like, of course I'm a voracious watcher.
And I agree with you. Like, I love the creatives, right? Like for me as a producer, as a host and everything else, an interviewer or whatever you want to call it, like I love watching what other people do and how they put together the shows using B footage and, you know what I mean? Narration over top of, and like how they transition between scenes and how they refer back to past things that they've said before. And like, it's so captivating. When you know kind of like the inside machine, like that was really cool how they did that. That was awesome how they got to that. I can't get away from that sometimes.
Yeah, and it's the same way. Development, and I think it's the life lesson of like, as unfortunate as, an event was, like that had to happen in order for, this bigger thing to come. And it's just, I think it's really powerful.
Red Truck Beer. You never forget your first truck. Official beer of the Toddcast podcast.
Gone like a thief in the night. Out of the blue is where it came from. The tears I didn't see in your eyes, that was the smoking gun. You were on to the next like I was nothing to you. Left me in pieces, now there's no use trying to outrun this heartbreak. Hell, if there's a safe place, it ain't at the bottom of the bottle, sitting top shelf high, so low down time. It ain't at the end of the throttle, every night train by with road it winds me back to you. Every time all this missing you's never far behind. I need to know, I wanna go where the broken hearts hide. You're on every radio dial, a ghost on every dance floor. Come down from every high, the reason why I want more, I need more. 'Cause it ain't at the bottom of the bottle, sitting top shelf high, so low down dive. It ain't at the end of the throttle, every night train by with road it winds me back to you. Every time all this missing you's never far behind. I need to know, I wanna go where the broken hearts hide. Broken hearts hide. I could settle down in Timbuktu, never leave the house, and I'd still see you painted on the back of my eyes. What I wanted to find. It ain't at the bottom of the bottle, sitting top shelf high, so low down dive. It ain't at the end of the throttle, every night train by with road it winds me back to you. Every time all this missing you's never far behind. I need to know, I wanna go where the I wanna know, I wanna go where the broken hearts hide.
He's got one of the best voices around. His name is Kyle McCurney, and that's a new song for him, new to the podcast. It's called Broken Hearts Hide. Kyle's a longtime friend of the podcast. We've known each other for damn near 20 years now. The music, actually, that you hear in the intro and the extra of this podcast, well, that's Kyle. He let us use that music, and very cool to see him crushing it right now. His debut album, his solo album, called Down Home, was nominated for Alternative Country Album of the Year at the 2022 Canadian Country Music Awards. Last year, Kyle won Contemporary Singer of the Year and won for the Alternative Country Album of the Year at the 2023 Canadian Country Music Awards. Couldn't be more proud of a very good buddy. Looking forward to our next podcast. You'll hear 9 guests and the superpowers that they would want to have. Well, he's not a guest next week, so check out what Montreal Canadiens center Alex Newhook said.
That's a tough one. I think maybe super speed would be pretty cool.
Be able to turn it on right away. Boom.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Could you imagine that kid with super speed? It would be insane. Next week, it's all about superpowers, and if you say anything but teleportation, you need to rethink life. Of course, big thanks to our guests this week before we wrap up episode 340. Napoleon singer Jon, dude, I love your band. Thank you again for jumping on Zoom. Can't wait for you guys to make it out to Vancouver. Love to see you. Love to check it out. Retired MMA fighter Jon Fitch, thank you for your time, man. I've been a big fan over the years. So cool to shoot the shit with you, and thanks for sharing your visit so much online. Very cool. And actress Sasha Neboga, thank you for taking some time as well. Really cool to kind of get to know you and for more than just the roles. Looking forward to seeing where your career goes. Once again, my name is Todd Hancock. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please tell your friends about us. It's a huge way, we know it, we see it, of how we grow. We are part of the Realm.fm network based out of New York City. If you're into checking out other podcasts, we're talking nonfiction and fiction. Realm.fm, they have everything you're looking for. Super thankful for their worldwide distribution. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Megaphone, Apple Podcasts. Of course, all of the videos you can see on YouTube. Please comment and rate the podcast when you're there as well. That helps out with the search engines and everything else. What else? Of course, search us out through Toddcast Podcast. Huge thanks to all of our excellent sponsors. You can find links to all sponsor websites at toddhancock.ca. If you would like to sponsor the podcast, P.S., you can for as little as $10 a day. It's cheap. Check us out through the homepage of toddhancock.ca. Hit us up and we'll talk and we'll see what's going on. As always, help us find a sponsor. We will give you a commission. Why not make a little side hustle when you listen? What other podcasts are doing the same thing? I'll wait. Okay, till next time, don't be an asshole because nobody wants to be around that, right? Have fun, play hard. Most of all, believe in yourself.
You've been listening to the Toddcast Podcast, powered by Citywide Mortgage Services, dedicated to helping you find the best mortgage rates. Available 7 days a week at citywidemortgage.ca.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Laureau, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Laureau, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.